I wonder if anyone has quantitatively evaluated the impact of simulation papers in robotics versus papers that reported results with real robots. Here's what triggered that question, and with lots of paraphrasing of the discussion, and my apologies if I get oversimplified. But anyway, I presented at the Robot Teaming for Dynamic Uncertain Environments workshop, the RT-DUNE workshop at ICRA. And you can see that I look like Big Brother over Zoom. And I was on the end of the day panel on top of it, which was discussing the problem space for robotics in RT-DUNE, that this sort of came up. A younger member of the audience asked about the role of simulation, observing that ICRA has become a come up with a theory, simulate it, publish, repeat conference. Now, Peter Cork agreed with the concern that the community had begun to lean too heavily into simulation, noting that it was only recently that you could get a paper in ICRA without results on a real robot. And the previous talks had typically shown that making robots work in dynamic, uncertain environments could not be done by simulation alone. Unfortunately, simulation may not even be appropriate or transferred to the field of robotics for many anticipated reasons, or as Mary Nell Vasquez pointed out, simulations cannot capture the richness of human-robot interaction, thus they're not really of value for that area. Worse yet, the shift to a simulation monoculture that we're seeing right now may be a manifestation of the tendency to follow research fads, for example, using machine learning for everything without a thoughtful consideration of other techniques. And I certainly agreed, and I speculated that the shift may be driven by tenure incentives, as it's easier for committees to count the number of papers than evaluate the impact of those papers. And researchers can produce more simulation papers faster than fieldwork because fieldwork takes time. Now, Byron Boots countered that simulation results, of course, can be valuable, and the community shouldn't dismiss results just because they're not replicated on a real robot. And certainly David Scaramuzza, another speaker of the workshop, had been very successful in coupling simulation in the real world. Alan Newell, one of the founders of the field of AI, suggested that failure in research is measured not by whether a technique worked, but whether by looking back 15 years later if there's an impact on science, if anyone explicitly uses those results in their work, which I note is different than merely citing it. So I wonder if simulation papers have a higher Newell failure rate than papers with real robots. Our discussions seem to presume so, but I wonder if our qualitative gut feel is correct. I mean, after all, they're compelling examples of where simulation has transferred brilliantly enabled results in the real world that robots couldn't have been produced any other way. And on the other side, compelling examples of work with real robots that can be basically described as who cares? But I wonder what's the mean of the impact of all the robotic simulation papers compared to the mean of the real robot papers. Well, regardless, hopefully the community is focusing on using the best tools to advance robotics or different projects or portions of a robotics project.